Hello and welcome to a new NFL season. We've missed you. I can't express to you how many hours and minutes I've been counting down to the start of the new NFL season. We are the SportsHeads. I'm your host, Andre Dixon, with my band of merry men and the special, amazing woman in my life, NFL-wise. I don't want my wife coming for me with the forearm, definitely. So I'm with Sam Morgan, Dan Fleury, and of course Hannah Wilkes from Sky Sports NFL. How are you guys? And I've missed you. This is the last niceties for this season, but I've missed you guys. How have you been?
We haven't missed you, or I haven't missed you.
Yes, you have.
No. The other two, Hannah, Dan, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Very nice. Dre, hello.
How have you guys been?
All of you.
So Hannah, you've had obviously you're prepping for the new season with Sky. How's that going?
Good. It feels like every year there's even more to dig your teeth into when it gets to sort of this time of year, or like the last couple of weeks, really. The last couple of games of preseason and ramping up. And we had our NFL 32 live show last week where we previewed the whole season, every team, every division. So I got to do a bit of a US road trip from this very seat, hopping around to a few of the teams, talking to some players. It's good. It's like that. It's almost like Christmas vibe, isn't it? It's just like, it's happening now. Finally, roll on Thursday night. Dan, you ready?
Mate, I'm excited. I know you've been messaging me constantly talking about the new football season, so I know you were excited. It's been a whirlwind of a preseason, and I'm kind of glad that we've had a preseason now. Unlike last year, I kind of missed the preseason. Didn't think I would, but yeah, off-season moves, preseason, NFL 17-game season. Hey, mate, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Well, let's get to it, because obviously last week was a big splash and big surprise to everyone. Cam Newton getting released by the Patriots. Obviously, some people saying it's because of the COVID protocol, that he hasn't had vaccination. Some saying because he has lost arm strength or his accuracy, so forth. But I will go to you, Sam, first of all. Do you feel that Patriots have made the right decision by going for Mac over Cam?
I'm actually good. Yes, because Cam's not been set in the world of light in the last few seasons anyway, and I'm sure you're happy for me to say that, Dre, because I know you're a big fan of his headscarves and his random fonts that he puts on Instagram. But in all seriousness, he hasn't been the same Cam for me, and I think it's a great opportunity for Belichick to put his stamp on a QB. He can't put his stamp on Cam. He's a finished article. There's no more sort of trying to change him or change his game. I think as well, if you look at Mac Jones, and I know there's the comparisons to like the draft day pictures of how Tom Brady looked to how he is now, that the way Mac Jones stormed into picking up his pick as well from the draft room originally, I think he's ready to go, and he's obviously demonstrated that. So for me, it's a great sort of rebuild picture for the Patriots, and that's how I see it with Mac Jones. And let's just take a mental note of what he looks like now, and let's revisit this in a few years, because I think we'll see the chiseled jaw rather than look like the guy that had the cigar in his mouth counting all the mini rolls that he had at the time. So I'm sure we expect big things, but I'm actually a believer that he'll come good. If not this first season, that second season will be a good breakout for him.
Hannah, what say you?
I'm kind of in agreement with Sam. I think we can't lose sight of the fact that we're going to see a really different Patriots team this year. They had 8 COVID opt-outs. They're all back. They've spent a load of money since the Super Bowl, like 340 odd million, which is very un-Patriots. They've completely restructured the passing game. They brought in Hunter Henry, Johnny Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, all penciled into that starting lineup. So you need a quarterback that can be throwing that ball. They're so much better than they were on paper. And I think not even just in the sort of, paper like this time last year, not even just the physicality of Mac Jones and those Tom Brady comparisons that are coming on. If you watch him in preseason, his style of throw, his style of play, he looks a little bit Tom Brady-esque out there throwing that ball. You change that jersey number and it's not all that dissimilar. So I think the COVID thing did play a massive part in it. Look, I think if you look at every cut that all 32 teams have made, I think only Urban Meyer has actually admitted that, yes, it's a factor, because every game was at risk last year. Why would you put yourself in a position to be in that situation again when it's for the most part avoidable now. So they can't say it, but of course that is going to be a factor. So I think it's interesting times. I think it's going to be possibly better for Patriots fans this year as a result. And I love Cam Newton. I want to see him land somewhere. I think there are a couple of places he could still turn up. Houston. But yeah, I think it's the right move for them now, because why wait a year to start your rebuild? I always think this: if you've got a strong drafted quarterback, why wait? If you're in that sort of flux period anyway, it's not like Tom Brady's still there. You might as well go for it now, and you'll get back to where you want to be so much quicker than if he's sat behind Cam Newton, even if only for half the season. Dan, what say you?
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. As the words of Cam in it, that little post about loyalty. 2 weeks later, he gets gets cut from the Patriots. Now, I think I'm agreeing with Hannah in one sense. I don't think Cam's good enough for the league in terms of a starting job. I think he's a backup now type level, but it's Cam. He's got that aura. I saw a video of Cam and Mac throwing. They had receivers running routes, and Cam was missing the receivers by miles. And this was like maybe 15 yards out as a slant post in terms of what the receiver was running. And Cam was just missing him, and Mac Jones was on the money. So I think in terms of talent, Belichick said it himself, one of his biggest regrets was the fact that he didn't, start Tom earlier when he should have. So I think he's learning from that. At his point as well with the COVID situation, Cam's not the only quarterback that's going to be in trouble. Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins. I'm not going to lie, if the Vikings and the Colts didn't have that contract situation, I'm pretty sure they would have been cut already. So COVID is going to be a factor, but also just Cam's mechanics, as Sam said, he's not accurate. I think he's, outside of the MVP year, he's a career best at 59%. And, in the league, you're looking at sort of average 62 to 65% in terms of accuracy. Cam's, he's not got it. He's not got it at all. And he's not worked with his mechanics. And, Cam's kind of like that sexy model, that sexy car, but with no engine. And that's when you don't really want to be driving a car with no engine. And that's it, really.
Well, I keep on saying it. Like, you keep on bringing attention to yourself with all of these elaborate outfits, pre and post game. Then people are expecting the goods, and if you ain't, I'm sorry.
I never understand this conversation. What does it matter what the guy wears when he rocks up or not? How does that have any relation? I never.
Dre can't pull it off. Dre can't pull it off.
That's what it is, because I can't wear hats like that. That's what it is. I haven't got a face for it. That's what it is. But let's move on to the Cowboys. Obviously, it would not be normal if we didn't start the season without some type of Cowboys drama or gossip or rumors, all of those types of things. Dak Prescott obviously had a season-ending injury last season. Obviously, we felt really bad for him because obviously everyone kind of rooting for him, even if you're a Giants fan who's normally against the Cowboys. Obviously, you can't help but like him. He's not been able to do anything during the preseason games because obviously he had an injury with his arm. Now I'm going to come to Hannah first of all. Hannah, do you believe that Dak is ready to go, and can the Cowboys get out of the East with him?
Yes and yes. I think if you're managing Dak Prescott when he's coming back from a horrendous ankle injury that he suffered last season, like, it's horrendous. He had 2 surgeries on it. One he kept super secret because he had to refix it between when it happened and now. The slightest niggle, why on earth would you risk him in preseason? I mean, look at what happened to J.K. Dobbins. Like, it's just not worth it. And if he's getting back and he's starting to feel comfortable, because the key with Dak Prescott isn't just him being healthy, he's got to feel comfortable. So there's no point if he's got a bit of a niggle, putting him out there on preseason, throwing some bad throws because he's compensating for a shoulder, and then knocking his confidence a little bit and risking him getting injured again. So of course everyone jumps on this narrative that he's not right. There's all these rumors going around that he's talking to this major surgeon. I just think it's good player management when he's coming back from a serious injury like that to wrap him in cotton wool until the last moment. You'd be stupid not to. So I think he's healthy. I think he's good to go. Of course, you're never going to hear anything different out of the Cowboys camp other than he's healthy and he's good to go. But most players are playing by October with some sort of niggle and they carry on anyway. So do you know what I mean? Bigger picture here, no one's 100% fit when they're playing football week in, week out. And yeah, I think if he's firing, and it might be a little bit of Hard Knocks hype here, because I have felt myself pulled in, because you do, don't you?
Yeah.
But you start to look at that team and you think, okay, Zeke's looking in good shape. CD Lamb led it up last year, and everyone, I don't roll your eyes, Dan. He lost like 10 odd pounds or whatever, and he's looking pretty good for it. CD Lamb obviously lit it up as a rookie last year and was making some great catches pre-season and in training camp and all the rest of it. They've got pieces there, and you think if it does come together, it'll click really nicely. But football's football, and it's the Cowboys, so you never can be certain of anything.
Dan, you had some faces you.
No, I don't get me wrong. Zeke's looked great in shape. If I can look like Zeke, I will take it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But my thing is as the age-old saying is, you don't get into football. You don't get into shape for football until you play football. And that's now what we're coming up to close to a year of not playing football. And if it was just the ankle, I'll be fine. But it's also the shoulder, and they've had to consult baseball for an injury. I've never heard of anyone in football having to consult another sport for the injury, for throwing on, particularly QB. So I'm concerned because Dak's not thrown at all in preseason, barely thrown at all, even in sort of training camp. I'm really concerned because not even just that, but they're playing Tampa Bay, the first game back. That defense, they brought everyone back. Tom Brady's going to try and do a repeat. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a bit concerned. And now one of their linemen as well is on COVID reserve. So he's going to miss the first game. So really and truly, you got a shabby O-line. Zeke, we're not sure what he's going to do, even though he's lost weight. And Dax basically hasn't thrown for over a year. Yeah, it's not a recipe for success. And for me, you should have sort of invested on a sort of a quality backup to get. But obviously, they didn't. So I don't really care about the Cowboys. So yeah.
Sam, get in there.
I actually think, Dan, I'm not going to agree with you about the shabby linemen there, because they've actually had a load of injuries from last year returning. So Collins, Tyron Smith, they're all back. I think the only real question mark is at centre, where obviously you've got a few knocks there. I actually think Hannah's spot on in the fact that you do leave these players up to the very last minute. Why would you? You know what he's capable of. You know what he can do. So have him ready for that first game. They may even leave him out for that first game. Like you said, why allow him to beat him up? They might just take that one we'll just take that as an L straight away, knowing it's coming, and allowing that time. I don't think you can write Dak off. I think too many people keep doing that. Even with this injury, I still think he's going to prepare right. I think the offensive line will be a lot better. As I said, there's a lot of people returning from injuries, people that opted out again from last year, that I actually think he's going to be in a better place to have better protection, so he doesn't actually get smashed every week and obviously have these injuries, because that's all that was happening. He might as well have had us 3 or us 4 as the offensive line last year. That was basically it. Yeah, that was it. I'll just tie it behind Dre because then we got a bit of cover. But but seriously, seriously, for real. Like I actually think he'll be good this year. I still think that people like Jerry Jones will just have to sit there with the gristling face that he puts on when Dak obviously performs, because I know he hates him. Deep down, I know he hates Dak. So I think this year he'll be able to put it to bed.
I have one tiny thing to add, and I know you love it when I do this, right? Just in what Sam was saying, like, you wouldn't be surprised if Dak doesn't play the full game on Thursday. I think if they lose, or they lose badly, or he doesn't play well against the Buccaneers, do not read too much into it, because then for the next 8-9 weeks, they have a ridiculously easy schedule. So you might as well take the loss week 1, and then you look at who the Cowboys are playing until like mid to late October. So then you've got some time to bed in.
I think Dan and I are in the same, obviously for Homer reasons. But I think me and Dan are in the same page here. Like, you have to have some type of routine, to be able to play. You're starting off against the Super Bowl champions. You are starting off against the best defense there. They are going to rock him. And they're going to see how prepared he is, and just how prepared that knee is, and just prepare how the arm is, because, they're going to be coming for him, definitely. So to me, I think it's a bit of a risk not doing it.
Dre, on your point, just quickly, it is right. QB is a rhythm. Out of all the positions, QB's rhythm. You look at Tom Brady last year in COVID, and he was practicing. He got in trouble for practicing with his wide receivers, because it's all about rhythm. You need timing, and you're not practicing it all as a QB. It does make a difference how great your receivers are. You need that timing. And if the GOAT needs it, I'm pretty sure Dak definitely needs it.
We've got the Dak dance beforehand. I've missed that. I want to see that before as he's warming up with the salsa music, and see what other tunes that people are going to be putting on that. So, I've missed that. But let's get on to the new breed, the rookies. So we're looking at Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields. I am so excited to see all these guys. I'm going to start off with Dan. Early predictions, obviously, we haven't seen them lot play too much except for preseason. They're playing against second stringers. But who do you think right here and right now that we're going to hold you to it and come back to you at the end of the season, see if you're right or wrong, is the best out of that bunch?
So I think talent-wise, the best is Trevor Lawrence for sure. But I think you have to consider the situation. And the Jags are just a mess. And Urban Meyer, I don't trust him. After the whole Tebow situation, don't trust him completely. But I think Mac Jones with the Patriots is probably the best situation for all the QBs. He's got Belichick. He's going to have a hellacious defense. I reckon the Patriots are probably going to have number one defense this year. He's got weapons. They're going to lean heavily on the running game, and you've seen the Patriots do that time and time again. So I think he's probably going to be the best situation. I think Sam Wilson will probably struggle the most, but I don't even think we're going to see Trey Lance at all on the field. It significantly enough. He's only had really one year of football, COVID last year, so he didn't get to play. I think they're going to, as long as Jimmy G's healthy, they'll lean on Jimmy G and just let him just learn the offense. But I think going back to your point, I think Mac Jones with that situation in New England is probably going to be the best of the QBs for the first year. Not long term though, but the first year definitely.
Sam, get in there.
Jimmy G needs to be on the bench. I'm sorry. No way. How can you say? I don't know how you can say that. I think honestly, you're going to give Trey Lance his best opportunities actually with that Kyle Shanahan offense, and I'm actually concerned. We're already in a heavy loaded NFC West. I'm actually concerned with him being in that. Jimmy G's not a start. I don't think Jimmy G's a starting QB personally. I think he's a great backup, and he looked really good on the sideline for all the L'Oreal adverts and everything that he needed to, head and shoulders, whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? Great head of hair, good lad, but that's where you belong. Like good backup. I'm sorry. I think Trey Lance will come in and actually set the world alight in that offense. And that, again, this is another team with some people that are returning. I can't stand it. I need to relocate somewhere, Cardinals or somewhere, just so we can go in a different division somehow, some way, because it's just I'm really worried for it. In all honesty,
but Jimmy G wins though. He wins.
No. Jimmy G doesn't win. Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers win. It's not Jimmy G. Jimmy G is a puppet. He's a puppet. Trey Lance will not
record without Jimmy G. He's got a losing record without Jimmy G.
Okay, I'm telling you now.
We're coming to replace him with, but when his backup's Trey Lance, who has got the skills, and I could not agree with Sam more. I don't think it'll be that long before Trey Lance is starting, because I think he's exactly what Kyle Shanahan wants in a quarterback, and he can do everything that he wants to do as a coach and what he wants to be implementing. And I don't think Jimmy G is that great. And yeah, Jimmy G just needs to stay healthy. Literally, when has he ever done that? I mean, the one time he did, yes, they got to a Super Bowl, but it didn't go pretty well. It didn't go particularly well when he got there. So I'm with you on the Trey Lance, but I've been going through in fantasy and it's not been going well.
Who are you thinking, Anna?
So I'm kind of in agreement with exactly what Dan said about Mac Jones. I think he is in the best position to succeed. I think he's the guy that's not necessarily going to look like a rookie quarterback in the way that, Trevor Lawrence has got nothing to play with, and he's going to, for all the skill in the world, he's going to be struggling. So Mac Jones, I think when we do see Trey Lance, it'll be exciting. I don't think it'll be long before we see Justin Fields either. Like Andy Dalton has a couple of bad. It might even happen,
apparently
Sunday
it's his
night
time
against the Rams, Andy Dalton, Aaron Donald. Oh, look, Justin Fields is here. So I don't think it'll be too long before we see him either, just because of the state of things in Chicago. And actually, I have to say, and I don't think they're going to do much in this season, of course, but based on his pre-season performances, Zach Wilson was great. Like, he had some ridiculously high ratings. He was doing really well out on the field. I don't think the Jets are going to be in a position to do much with him this year. But again, I think he's a quarterback that, given the right setup around him, and he's got the wrong setup entirely, I think he will eventually succeed. But yeah, not now. I think the best place to succeed is definitely Mac.
I'm thinking, that, which is weird for me, but Zach Wilson, to me, I think that he, from what I've seen of him, I'm thinking that he's going to have the best options. I mean, he's got like a really good relationship with Corey Davis, Elijah Moore already. I really think that he's going to make a big splash, but obviously everyone's going to be looking at, Trevor Lawrence. That's just supposed to be a once in a generation, type of quarterback that we've got here. So he's going to have pressure on him straight away. But I think people are sleeping on Zach Wilson. But Trey Lance to me is the all round, especially with the coach that he's got as well. Like I can't wait to see him play properly, honestly. So I think we've got a bit of a treat when it comes to fantasy football. Whoever picks him, because I think he's going to be the new Herbert. I would say, it's big talk, but I think he could do that. But let's get to the early predictions of the season. These are unreasonable predictions. Obviously, it's the first game of the first week of the season, week 1. Who are we to be able to decide anything? But we're going to do that nonetheless. Hannah, we're going to start with MVP. Who is your early nomination or prediction for MVP?
I say this, but I fear this won't happen and it'll feel like a massive drop-off this year because what he's done over the last 3 seasons. But my gut says Josh Allen.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you say why?
Well, like I said, like what he's done the last 3 seasons, the trajectory he's been on, he's now one of the most accurate passers in the league. His sort of ascent to an elite passer has completely changed the dynamic of the AFC. I think the Bills are in contention. In fact, he's the 3rd most accurate passer in football. Forgive me, I don't want to oversell it. I think their defense got stronger as they went as they went through the season as well, which gave him more opportunity. The offensive line, once it stopped shuffling every game, improved. They've invested heavily in their defense as well over the offseason. And I just think, he's gone like this in a way that no quarterback is supposed to, especially the way he came out of college and the projections of him were like, why is anyone drafting this guy? So it has been insane. There's going to be a leveling off. It would be ridiculous if it carried on. But I think I've got a Bills feeling this year. I can't put my finger on it. I think they're exciting to watch. They're fun to watch. And they've got one of the best offenses in football. So I see no reason they did a great job last year. He was in that conversation towards the end of last season. So if they can continue.
I like it. Sam, what say you?
I think Hannah's just said it all for me. I had Josh Allen down myself. I think he's been great.
We're agreeing a lot today.
Yeah, I know. What's happening?
This ain't going to last.
Change this up. Yeah, let's see how long this lasts. No, honestly, he has actually been exciting to watch. And obviously, big shout out to Big Kev as well, because I'm sure he would have loved to have seen this from the Bills as well. But just generally watching him, what excites me about him is I know we talk about Mahomes and we talk about Jackson, obviously with the leg game, the rushing game. He can still move. That's what I like about him. I think he can actually still shift as well. So you don't know what you're getting from him. I think he disguises it a little bit more. He's a little bit smarter in terms of protecting himself as well. So we'll see probably, hopefully I don't completely jinx him now, but I think we'll see Josh Allen for a long period of time in the NFL. And I think he naturally looks like a QB. Even when he first came in, he just looks like he's been in the NFL for years. Like when you watch his game as well. So yeah, I think we're going to probably agree with the next one on when it comes to AFC champions as well, because I do. I'm not saying I'm all in, but just watching them as a whole collectively, he's got that whole team sort of together. And Josh Allen for MVP this year.
Dan,
I'm going to go different. I'm not going to go for QB. I know the MVP is usually a QB type, but basically it's a QB award. But I'm going to put my hat in the ring and go a bit different since the beginning of the season and say Derrick Henry. Now, the dude's had back-to-back 2,000 rushing yards. If he does it again, he'll be the only QB in NFL history to do that in over 100 years. That on itself merits MVP sort of caliber, because you don't see it. You think about all the great running backs that you've seen, from Barry Sanders to sort of Jim Brown. You've never seen anyone rush 3 times in 3 consecutive seasons, 2,000 yards. So if he does that, if he manages to do that, which I think he might be able to do with the fact that they've got Julio on the outside now as well as Brown, I think you have to I think out of just the narrative and the story of it, I think you're going to get writers giving it to him based on that. But that's an early prediction, just throwing a ring out there. I don't want to sort of go for the, traditional QB kind of pick.
Hannah, you chose Josh Allen. Does that mean for the AFC champion, you're going to choose the Bills?
It's a bit of a head versus heart situation, because you can never overlook the Kansas City Chiefs, can you? It'd be really stupid too, because they have been up there. They're going to continue to be up there. They are stacked with talent. So my head is like, who's going to beat the Chiefs? But then my heart goes, well, if anyone's going to, I think it will be the Bills. So yeah, I'm gonna go all in on the Bills in the AFC. They're the team I'm rooting for in the AFC this year.
And Dan, are you agreeing?
No, I'm not agreeing. You know what? I would have said the Chiefs. And again, look, they are the champions 3 years in a row. You have to beat them to get there. But one team I'm going to surprise you, and it kind of pains me to say this, but they're probably the deepest roster in the AFC. The Browns.
No.
Like, I know I don't trust Baker. I really don't. But you saw when Nick Chubb came back and what they were able to do. And I know Odell is a problematic thing because Baker always looks to him. But Kevin Stefanski coming back into his second season, the weapons they have on defense, they're stacked. They've got the best roster outside of the Chiefs. Actually, I'll probably say they probably have the best roster inclusive of the Chiefs because of the running game. Because the Chiefs don't really have a rusher that can get you 1,000 yards. Whereas you've got two in the Browns and they're well coached. I know that division is hard, but you know, if you had put Deshaun in the Browns, I would have said Super Bowl champions. But for me, it's just Baker, but I got Browns. I bought Browns. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to completely ignore that one. Let's. I've tried to make peace. I've tried to make peace with the Browns fans, but I still want you to lose every game, and I will remain to do so for the entire season. Sam, what say you, sir?
So I was trying to get over that Brown shout. That's horrendous. There's probably three other teams that could come before them. Yeah, and yeah, Baker. Yeah. No, I'm in with the Bills. I actually think, Dan, you made a good point about the Titans, though, and I don't think people should sleep on them, to be fair, of what we've added in there. I mean, just adding Julio next to Brown as well. I think that's now you've got some problems. And let's face it. I mean, Henry, his running game is a joke. I think it'd probably be half of that if he stopped stiff arming people and people actually put on the weights and stop getting stiff armed, because that is embarrassing. Week in, week out, seeing someone get embarrassed that badly. Just seriously, don't let it happen. If he's coming in, he puts the stiff arm up, trip him up, do him dirty, whatever it is. Do not get stiff armed. Do not get embarrassed on Instagram like that. It kills me seeing that every week. What a player. But yeah, that MVP is a little bit too strong for me, I think, on that one. But yeah, I think that I'm in with the Bills, but my sleeper is the Titans for this year in the AFC. And it would be boring to keep saying the Chiefs. It would be boring.
All right, let's move on to the NFC champions. Dan, who have you got for that?
Mate, it has to be Tampa Bay. And I'm not trying to say it like it. I know it's an obvious pick, but they're one of the only teams to bring all their starters back. AB has looked better. He's second year in the system. Brady has, a tandem running game in Jones and Fournette. And, they picked up the guy from Cincinnati. What's his name? Mixon. So you look at what they're doing. Like, I feel like they were lucky to beat certain teams on their way, but now with what Brady is, second year, they are the pick. If I was to say a sort of dark horse, I don't even think there's a dark horse in the NFC, to be fair. I think the NFC, you really only got 5 teams that can compete, and they're the Bucs, Green Bay, Rams, unfortunately, Seattle, and you might have the Saints, depending on what happens with Michael Thomas. I feel like Jameis he will get them to the playoffs, I think, given that I think he's learned from Drew Brees. But outside of that, NFC is actually right now a poorer league than AFC, and it's pretty more predictable.
Anna?
I mean, I'm kind of in a possible to overlook them. Yeah, returning all 22 starters. It's ridiculous. It's unheard of. I think they're the first team to do it in like a ridiculous amount of years. This exact stat escapes me. Yeah, it's really hard to see past them. I always want the Packers to do well, and they'll be there and thereabouts, but I still just feel like there's something missing to get them across the line. Like there's just something not, and obviously the Aaron Rodgers drama and all that distraction doesn't help. But I mean, of course, I will be hoping that Matthew Stafford leads the Rams charging to the NFC Championship. But Yeah, hard to see past Tampa. It's annoying, right? Brady going from AFC to NFC. It's just annoying.
Right, let's go for the rookies now. So who do you guys think is going to be the rookie of the year? Sam, I'll start with you.
I was going to come back because you missed me out on that one, but yeah, I do think the Bucs.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Don't worry, mate. It's all right. Let's see how it is. I'll see where this is going. But yeah, I mean, no, my view wasn't going to be any different. I think that was writing was on the wall there. I think just quickly on the Bucs there. I think there's not been. Sometimes you hear rumblings of someone wanting to get out, someone not being happy, but it seems to be like a whole 53-man roster seems to be happy to be there. And I don't think it's just a Brady effect. I think that's a Bruce Arians effect as well, like in his coaching staff. I think they make it an environment you want to be, not just because obviously they're Super Bowl champions as well. But yeah, that was my piece, my 2 pence, mate. So I'll introduce myself.
You might as well just said that.
I'll introduce myself for Rookie of the Year.
Say the name of the team.
Yeah, whatever.
Right, let's go with the Rookie of the Year.
If I can get his name right, but is it NJ Harris? I can't even say his first name, but yeah, I think as a running back, I think he's going to be unreal for the Steelers. I think they've been missing that. I think the Steelers game when they had people like Connor, obviously James Conner, I know he's obviously with the Cardinals now, but when he had that great season in 2018, we saw the best out of the Steelers. For me, I know like from a consistent running game, and I think he'll be allowed to go and do that. And the snaps I've seen him in training, the snaps I've seen obviously at preseason, I think this guy is going to be a great rookie to look at, and someone that will be in the league for a long period of time at the top of his game. So I've got him as the number one, and then again just coming away from the typical QB.
Hannah?
Kyle Pitts. I am all in on the Kyle Pitts hype train. And a lot of people are. So for a lot of fantasy football purposes, I really hope he has a good season because people are drafting him so high. I think he's kind of what the Falcons need. Gives Matt Ryan someone to throw to, adds a bit of edge, a bit of excitement to them. I think, yeah, if he lives up to the hype, he only played 2 snaps in preseason, so we haven't seen that much of him. But I think his projections are really good. He's projected like 7 touchdowns and to be sort of 3rd highest in the NFL in terms of tight ends, which when you look at who that puts him amongst just in terms of projections, that's your Travis Kelce's, your George Kittle's, Darren Waller's, like that's big. So if he can live up to that hype, Kyle Pitts, I reckon, is going to blow us all the way. Or it'll be some random wide receiver that none of us have even heard of at the moment, and they will just have this breakthrough season. And we'll be like, where'd this guy come from? A la Justin Jefferson.
Dan, last word.
To pick up on the fantasy, guys who are like looking at fantasy and listening to, also check out Gage from Atlanta as well. I think he's going to have a big season now that Julio's gone. But yeah, I have to agree with Sam, to be fair. I think Pitts is a good shout. But I think Najee Harris at the Steelers, I think he's going to probably be the... I've liked him in preseason. I've liked what he's done in preseason. I know they've limited him, but I think the Steelers have needed a running game for a while now. I think they're going to lean heavily on that with Big Ben and try not to rely on Big Ben too much. And I think because of the way the Steelers will play this season, not relying on Big Ben to throw the ball as much, I think he can have a breakout season, but he can also catch from the backfield as well. So I think he'll be a good option for the Steelers. And I think it's a good pickup for the Steelers. So barring any injuries, I think Najee Harris for the Steelers probably be my pick for MVP, rookie MVP.
We are almost at the end, but I'm going to throw a little audible because this has been a bit too kumbaya for my liking in this episode. So I'm going to ask you guys, because this is what I've been looking forward to all week. Who is coming out of your division? I'm going to start with Hannah.
Not the Cardinals. Sorry. I just can't see it happening for your Birds this year, I'm afraid. No, look, I have to say I'm getting a little bit nervous because there is an increasing amount of low-key Rams hype coming from different areas. And I refuse to buy into it too much. I want to, but you just worry because when it's too hyped, there's so much more room that can go wrong. And I think there's been, there's a lot of guys out. So it's not like it's the same defense coming back. That number 1 defense is not the same defense as it was last year. And yeah, yet to see what impact Matthew Stafford can have, but it better be a big one.
Dan.
Hey, I'm just saying, innit? Reports have said that McVay has been kind of underwhelmed with Matt Stafford at the moment right now. Those were some of the reports that have been saying. But without taking the biasness of what I have in being a Seattle fan, I'm still going to put the Steelers for Seattle. It's the Seahawks for the reason of they're the only team that has a solid running game. Now, I think Cardinals have a good running game as well. But really and truly, do I trust Cliff Clinsby? No, I don't trust him at all as a coach. I think he's terrible. I don't know why the Cardinals hired him, to be fair. And I feel like it's been the brilliance of Kyler Murray, that's saved them rather than him being a coach. And you can just see situationally, he just coaches terribly. So I think it'll be Seattle just because of the fact that they have got a solid running game. If the Rams didn't have a so patchy running game, I would have probably put them. But for me, it's probably going to be Seattle. But I wouldn't sleep on San Fran. I just don't know what the quarterback situation is so uncertain. And I don't think Trey can get them to the playoffs in his first season. I just think he's not had enough football reps to basically beat those three teams and, sort of get into the playoffs. But it's going to be interesting. But I think it'll be sort of Seattle's to lose.
Sam, you've been blown away by Hannah with the 12 gauge there. I'm going to give you a chance to end this and reply.
To be honest, we are in trouble. But I've got to say, the only way we get out of this division is if we actually stay healthy. Because if you get JJ Watt through 3/4 of the season, if you go by some of the talk that's not sources directly from the Cardinals, you look at AJ Green. We're looking at an AJ Green from previous seasons when he was healthy. We've added the right people there. I think another season of Isaiah Simmons, Zach Collins again, who's come in. I think again, Xavier Collins. Sorry, I think that if you look at the pieces we've added, we have strengthened. Is this the season that we can go all in? I don't think so, of course, but I think it will be. To be honest, it will be probably between us and San Fran to obviously be holding everyone up in there. But as I said, that with Kyle Shanahan, you can't write him off. I don't think the Seahawks and the Rams are as strong as people are riding out to be. I think if you take if Russell Wilson is not at the Seahawks, and when that ends, then Seahawks will be at the bottom of that division for years to come. Honestly, I think you can write the Seahawks off normally, but with Russell Wilson, you can never ever write them off. I think at this stage, I think it's just wide open. It's easy for me to sit on the fence here, but I generally don't think anyone can go all in on any of the teams in that division, because I think any one of those teams could go and win a division, any other division in this league, and that's God honest truth.
Well, I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm going all in on 49ers. I think they're gonna whoop ass this whole time. They've had all their defense come back. They're injury free. Most starters gonna run through people. The rookie QB is gonna be the one to look out for. I'm telling you now. But I'm gonna enjoy seeing you guys bicker and argue for the.
Dre. Let's just end this here, because I'm gonna speak for all three of us here. Where do you think the Giants will come this year, mate?
Well, thanks everyone for joining this week. And check for more football, for more NFL updates from all of us. Check out on www.vergemagazine.co.uk and at Alternative Sport on Instagram. But until then, I'm gonna tactfully bow out with while I have some self-esteem for my team, because our talking's gonna be on the field. Don't worry about that. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Peace.
That doesn't bode well, though, does it?